Good morning, Bellows Falls, and happy Valentine's Day. Good morning, Marty. And Ash Wednesday. And Mary Helen's here today. We're just talking about how my wife is disclosing too much information during exercise class. Not supposed to happen.
Yeah, well, we didn't disclose the information because it's like Las Vegas. When you take a class with me, what happens in class stays in class.
Yeah. How come I just heard about it?
Because you were directly about it. I wouldn't tell the public anything about your. Anyway, I'm not going to go there.
All right. So happy Valentine's Day.
And a happy Ash Wednesday. They're kind of at odds with one another, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. It's one cancels out the other.
Like Lenten, you usually give something up, and a lot of times people give up chocolate, and then you get. So I guess you put your Valentine's chocolates on the shelf
for 40
days till Easter, which is also April Fool's Day this year.
Yes. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, it's the weirdest calendar year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I know.
Strange year.
Crazy.
Crazy stuff.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
I know. And look at our government. Oh, not going to go there either.
All right.
Go there. So I have some local events to talk about. The first local event coming up this Friday night is the annual, much-awaited Rotary Spaghetti Dinner.
But I thought it was Saturday night.
Saturday night. Sorry, we prepped it Friday night. My bad. Because in my it shows up Friday night, we're still making meatballs. Yes, it's Saturday night from 5:30 to 7. It's at the Bellows Falls Moose Club. Spaghetti, meatballs, salad, dessert, and beverage. It's $8 for adults. Children are $5. And
tickets on sale.
Tickets on sale. Look at you.
With your Rotarian.
And takeout. You can takeout is available. $8. We do a ton of takeout. So you can take it to go, and all the proceeds go to Rotary, and then Rotary puts the money back into the community. So it's a win-win.
Yeah, so your scholarships and all the projects that the Rotary does. This is how you support the Rotary. You don't have to go. You can get takeout, and it's really good. It's homemade sauce. I mean, I won't give out the secret recipe.
Don't give out the secret recipe. But
it is a
homemade
secret
sauce.
recipe.
It is a secret recipe. Homemade sauce, homemade meatballs, and from our #1 fans. They're the ones that are responsible for the salad dressing, and that's a secret recipe too. That's Chris and Tom Miller's secret salad dressing recipe. So that in and of itself is worth it.
They were counting on using that for retirement. That was going to be like Newman's own. It was going to be Chris and Tom's, but then Newman took it.
Oh, darn.
Awesome. And then coming up next week is your project, which is also Rotary sponsored by Rotary, Fact TV, Greater Falls Connections, and Turning Point Center is the importance of hope. Steps to help the community break the cycle of addiction. So you want to talk a little bit more about just? Yeah,
we're doing a 2-hour forum at the Opera House. Next Thursday, not tomorrow, but a week from tomorrow.
22nd.
On the 22nd at 6 o'clock, with doors open at 5:30. We're going to it's going to be divided into 2 halves. There's going to be a panel, the first half that's going to be stories of people affected by addictions, and it's really moving. I know you previewed part of it.
Yeah.
And so the speakers are really good, and then some are very inspirational. And then the second half, we're going to have things that you can do to pitch in.
Call to action.
It's a call to action. We're going to have like a panel, but it's going to be local groups that are working to build community, break the cycle of addictions, do prevention projects, do recovery projects, and they're all going to come up and talk about what people in Bellows Falls can do to really help out. Because it's really about building community more than anything else. I mean, people talk a lot about, we could this type of treatment or this type of prevention or these law enforcement agencies, but it's really about community and talking with people and knowing who your neighbors are and reaching out to your neighbors and that's going to be the thing. It's really going to be much more about Bellows Falls is a great community. Let's sort of restore that communication and get a little away from looking at our phones and get more at looking at people and talking with people.
Because community really is the key. And I think that's apropos that's what Mary Helen's here to talk about today. Talk about community and that while the community needs to come together to help with the cycle of addiction, the community also needs to come together to keep the community vital, which I think we do with the promotions that BIFTA does. And so you're going to tell us a little bit about how Shop Local went this year.
Right. BIFTA is the Bellows Falls Downtown Development Alliance for people who I hope know, but maybe
I
don't know
I
yet.
did tell someone this morning, so not everybody knows what it stands for.
Yeah,
but-
I know that they don't necessarily know that. And our main mission is downtown revitalization, but obviously you can't just revitalize downtown without reaching out to the whole area and engaging all sorts of other entities. And so I'll start out by talking about some of the programs that BIFTA does. We have a tax credit program through the Vermont Downtown Program, and this tax credit program is open to property owners in the downtown, designated downtown. Our most recent award was a $25,000 award for what was the Sovereignette building at the head of the square. That's being totally rebuilt.
Oh, yeah,
I was going to say, pretty
they're
much,
basically
yeah.
taking the
And
insides out.
the couple that owns the building will live in the upper floors, and they will have a coffee roasting business on the ground floor. They're shooting for late spring to be open, but they may not keep on that timeline simply because there's just been a lot more to the project than they imagined. People may think that's a small amount of money for such a large project. It's like in excess of $300,000 project. But part of it is that in the area, you can only get credits for the area that's public. So the upper floors are
Right.
excluded
Okay, yeah.
because they will be living there. And
quarters.
so that's why for that building, normally the tax credit awards are higher, but that's because of the sort of mixed use of that building.
I'm going to guess that one of the first customers at that coffee roasters might perhaps be Alex Stradling, because
Mr. Coffee?
Mr. Coffee, I hear
yes.
we almost didn't have a show this morning
It
because
came-
somebody was rooting through my desk looking for an emergency K-cup so Alex could have coffee and get the show going this
I
morning.
know, I ended up having to go and root through my desk.
Through your desk, I know. Anyway, but no, I'm excited to have a coffee roaster, and I
A
think that's
second
cool.
initiative that we did last year and we're doing again this year was we helped with fundraising for Roots on the River.
Oh, good.
And last year, Ray Masuko had set a goal of maybe getting $10,000, and we exceeded that fundraising goal. We got close to $12,000.
And how do you do that, though? What projects did you do for was it like a direct appeal to people?
It was
or
a direct.
like-
It was a direct appeal. Ray made it. We went into a partnership with Roots on the River, and therefore donations that came directly to BIFTA could be tax deductible because of our
okay.
nonprofit
Yeah,
status.
yeah.
And typically, we could have said, this money has come to us and this is our money, and not give it back to them. But
Yeah, but
but as a program, because we've always supported that entity, as we do the farmers market, for example, we then pass
Yeah,
the money on to them, and that helped them to have some real sponsorship money
Sure,
and
yeah.
some seed money to, start things up. So we are doing a partnership with them again this year.
Great.
And so far, we've got over $5,000, so, and
Nice.
that's pretty early on, so that's great. And it's helpful to both of us. I mean, it raises our visibility
Yeah.
and we want to do those kinds and support those kinds of programs that
that bring
people in
Exactly.
and that, bring vitality to the community.
Make it a destination place, and that helps all the
Right.
businesses.
And I don't know if people know, but the holiday decorations are also a big project of BIFTA, and which brings me to the fact that this coming Sunday at 10 a.m., if anyone wants to volunteer to help us remove the decorations,
There's a call to
this is
action,
our
community.
plan.
What comes up must come down, right?
Our biggest program, and I had talked a little bit about it at the launch back in the fall, but Shop Local, our program that helps to bring people to shop locally and also to promote all the people that participate in the program. We had over 60 participants this year.
Great.
And if you participate, you pay a small fee, and you receive a lot of advertising in return for that. Radio, Facebook, at the Opera House before the films, and it really does make a huge difference. And for a very small amount of money, the most you would pay would be $100. You cannot beat that amount
No, you
of
can't.
promotion. And it brings everybody together, and it gets people to patronize those stores. Last year, we had around $300,000 that we could account for only from completed cards,
Right.
which are $100 each. But we did raise this year $347,500.
Nice.
So
Good for
almost,
you.
almost another $50,000.
That's great.
Over last year, so we know that it's really making a difference. The people who participate also give prizes, and we had over 88 prizes this year. And by the way, even though we have called everyone or emailed every winner, I still have 30 prizes to pick up.
All right.
So,
If you have a prize, come
so
on in.
if you want to get your prize, come to the BIFTA office, and probably by the end of the month, I will transfer all of the unclaimed prizes to Village Square booksellers, because it might be easier for people to pick them up there.
Oh,
And I will send out a reminder in the next week to everyone who has not contacted me or picked up their prizes. But we think that's really
That's
an amazing
Yeah,
amount
it
of
is.
money. And as
And
I
that's
said, that's
completed
only
cards.
from completed cards.
know.
If you don't do cards or you don't finish cards, we have no way of measuring what else, but obviously. And I think the shopping season this year was a little challenged, A, by weather, and B, by the way the calendar fell, because
Yeah.
we were on the weekends were when the holidays were coming, and so it was, so maybe we could have done even better, I don't know, but I still think that's a pretty big,
I think it's
amazing
amazing
amount of
And
money
it's
to talk
nice
about.
that you have that number value to bring to the merchants when you're talking about the
Right.
promotion, because it's empirical evidence that people are shopping local. Do you have any statistics of the first year shop local? Like, have you tracked it every year? Or?
Yes, we track it every year.
So what was the first year? Do you know? I'm putting you on
Well,
the spot a little bit, but do you know what the first year was?
The first year that I came here, I want to say was maybe around $90,000.
Okay, so it's
That was about 4 or 5 years ago.
definitively
So it's,
grown.
it is
definitely
growing.
growing.
And then the last 2 years, we did expand by a month of, we had always started like on the 1st of December, that first weekend of December, but we felt like, a lot of people said, gee, we spend a lot of money at Thanksgiving.
Right.
And so, and start buying Christmas gifts at that time. So we did start at the beginning of November. So I think those 2 months.
Which was really cool too, because I think the other thing that you're really getting down well are the events on the weekends that tie into
Into
Shop
that,
Local.
yes, and
Yeah,
that
that
we again.
chili thing was, oh man, I couldn't believe the number of people downtown.
Yes,
That was
That was-
really,
that was a
the
huge
launch,
success
the
this year, yes.
chili cheddar cook-off, and that was our second year, I think, third year maybe, but
And
really
huge-
made a big difference.
Yeah.
Got a
Yeah.
lot of people downtown.
You got the
and-
format. You got the format down in that
Right.
day. It was a really fun day. I mean,
Yeah.
it had beautiful weather. You lucked out on that.
Yes,
and I
we
think
did.
that again, something that really,
And again, that kind of event by having chilies or chowders at locations, more than one location. Again, it's surprising to me, but people don't. You think people must know about these places, but
They
some
don't.
people
No,
don't
they
come
don't.
downtown and they don't go to places.
you know
So
what? People
maybe
walk
this
like
is the
this.
one time that they go into a place because they
Yeah.
wanted to taste something, and then they
Yeah.
say, "Wow," So that is an indirect great promotion. Another thing that BIFTA does is we collect statistics. We're required to do that as part of the Vermont Downtown Program. And so we collect statistics, which we have to report annually about the activity in our downtown. We have about 15 very steady volunteers who did more than 250 volunteer hours last year that we, again, recorded. But we always need more volunteers, and right now we're down a couple of board members, so if anyone wants to be involved with our organization, please contact us.
now, do they have to have a downtown business, or can it
Nope.
just be a community member?
Just a community member is all that it takes.
and what's the commitment level for being on the board? Just because those are the type of questions people would want to know. You meet once a month.
We meet once a month, and then we have some committee meetings, depending on what area you're interested in working in, that meet in addition to that. But it's only a couple of hours a month, and makes a big difference in terms of people, different perspectives, people coming from different types of businesses or just citizens at large, but people who care about their community and give input and help to make change and improvement in the committee.
So if someone's interested, how would they contact you?
They can either email BFDA, bfdda@sauver.net,
Okay.
or they could call 460-2333. And any of the merchants downtown certainly could connect
Okay.
us as well.
Good to know.
So that would be important.
Hopefully we'll get you some new board
Yeah.
members.
We had, last year, we had 6 facade improvements that the cost of that was about $33,000 that private people put into having new signage for their buildings or painting or repairing. And I think the downtown is looking very
It
well
is.
kept up
And well occupied. How many
well
stores?
occupied. There are only 2 ground floor vacancies in downtown, which is incredibly remarkable, especially for a small town. Those are in the Arms Block, owned by Michael Bruno, just up on Westminster Street, sort of on the corner of where Church comes out, that building right there. 2 very nice spaces for rent. So if you're interested, you can contact Michael Bruno at Wyndham Antiques.
Yeah, because I think he just renovated those spaces,
Yes,
right?
he just
did, yeah.
did.
I saw a picture.
They're
and
very nice.
They are
very nice
storefront.
spaces, and not terribly large, so that you don't, there's not a huge rent
Yeah.
investment. But the only vacancy that we had at the end of the year was the barber shop, because Mike, of course, had died. But now Deb Wright is bringing her traffic safety business to there. At
Is that right?
Yes.
Oh, neat.
And
That's
she's
really
going to
good.
operate out of there at least temporarily,
Yeah, yeah.
and depending on how it all works out, office space. So
So
that's
it gives her
filled.
good visibility, I would
And
think.
it gives her good
Yeah.
visibility, and that's great. We had, I talked a little bit about the former Sovereignette building at the head of
and
the
that's
square.
going to be a coffee roaster?
It's going to be a coffee roaster in the ground floor, and then they will live in the upper floors. They receive tax credits and are doing this project and pretty much rebuilding the building.
Yeah. So are they going to, is it going to be like their custom blend of coffee that they're going to produce and then maybe sell, or is it going to, I guess I'm asking more about the whole coffee roasting idea, because it's one amazing idea, and I do drink a lot of coffee too.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I
I
don't
think
ever
that's
drink coffee.
their plan over time, is to probably have a house blend or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
But,
do you know what the
it's-
name of the building, what the name of the business is going to be, or have they developed that even?
I don't think they really are
Yeah.
at that place.
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Or maybe they're keeping it under wraps.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Because
they
you
could-
want to, have a really
have
exciting
yeah,
launch
boom,
and say,
yeah.
or put a little buzz out there, kind of like what Popolo has done for their special dining, where
Yes,
they
yeah.
put out on Facebook the word fix, as in prefix.
And you get people-
And people are like wondering what this is, and so they start looking about and developing some buzz before they actually do. It's really just 10 tables in what used to be the Wyndham Ballroom part of the building. And
But that's a really nice space. That's,
it's a beautiful space, and it'll be like only 2 nights a week
Yeah,
that
yeah.
they will offer
Prefix menu.
a prefix
Yep.
menu.
Starts next weekend, correct?
Yes.
So next weekend or the weekend
Yes.
after? I think it's next weekend.
And so lots of public improvements by the town in the downtown, a lot of work on the Bridge Street Bridge, and a couple of sprinkler shutoffs were installed because a number of buildings in the downtown received tax credits for code improvements. And so they have to have a special shut-off for the water to sprinkle the buildings, and so those investments were over, again, $300,000
Wow.
just on those couple of items that the town invested, and then, of course, there's always private investment on the parts of people keeping up their businesses. A couple of new spots over the last year in town. A gallery opened called Ad Hoc Gallery at the end of the Canal, Exner Block on
Yeah,
Canal
yeah.
Street. Also, there's the Canal Street Gallery that's just been opening. The coffee roasters will be coming. River Artisans came from Saxon's River and
Yeah.
have a permanent spot
I was just saying they've
now
got a
on the
beautiful
Main
sign.
Street.
I know
Yeah,
they added a
really.
sign.
Busy Bees moved from over on Atkinson Street into the firehouse. Anastasia's Closet expanded. They had been in the Sovereignette building, and they are over now on Bridge Street.
And if you
And-
haven't been in there, that is
Yeah,
like
that's a nice
that's like a
space,
fun
boy.
space.
That's a very nice
She's
space.
got a
She's
ton
got
of
a
stuff
lot
in
of
there.
interesting
She
stuff
does.
in there.
She's constantly posting on Instagram and Facebook, and she's
and-
got some funky
Right,
clothes.
and then there's another business that is in what was the old, where Chris Glennon had Stonebridge Antiques, called M&M Carriage Creations, and it's wood products and home decor. And so, when you have 8 sort of new entities coming into your downtown or expanding or doing whatever, again, I think that's a huge measure of vitality.
And you haven't mentioned the mystery restaurant downtown
That
with
we're
the
all
pretzel
waiting
place
for.
that we're all trying
Everyone's
to
waiting for.
Wunderbar, right? Or-
Wunderbar is what it's going to be called, and I think that they have been through a number of iterations about what they want to be when they grow up, but I don't think they're quite there. But I think, again, late spring is kind of now their target to open. They live in the upper floors of that building,
another-
and they, as you know, have painted a lovely mural on the side
Yeah,
of the
it's-
building and painted the whole, just the outside things that they have done have made it very nice, and they've been working on the inside. And interestingly, when someone makes an improvement to the outside of their building, it sometimes triggers
Other people,
other
to do
people to
similar
do that,
things,
and
yeah.
across the street from them, a building that really had needed some sprucing up, took their lead and totally painted the facade of
Yeah,
their building, and it
nice.
just looks
Yeah.
wonderful. And so we always note that and thank our people that do that.
Now, did the people that live there, did they paint that mural? Because that
They-
is quite a piece of work. That
Oh,
is
they
amazing.
actually did hire an
Yeah,
artist to do
yeah.
that. And of course, just with everything, when you want to put signage up or do something like that, you have to go to zoning and planning and, give them your design and get them to approve it
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and so on. But they did actually hire someone
No,
to
that's
Yeah,
really
paint
nice.
that's great.
and last but not least, we have resurrected BF3F, the third Friday, and here's a little
You've
listing of
expanded it
all the
quite a
things
bit,
that will
too.
be happening this Friday in downtown Bellows Falls. Again, businesses will be staying open until 7 o'clock or later. There, all of our downtown businesses are participating. There'll be a lot of activity in the Exner block because Southern Vermont young professionals will be joining the Canal Street Art Gallery
Oh, nice.
for an event, and they're going to have live music and food. There's the movie at the Opera House. Cafe 7 will be open late. Flatiron Exchange, and Michael Veach, who is a name that many of you may know from music.
Local
He's going
music.
to be there from 5 to 7
At
at
Flatiron?
And quilts by Margot Hubeck will be on display. They always have some kind of art display there. Popolo is going to be open till 9:30. River Artisans will be open. You can see glass blowing at Sherwin Art Glass. There are just a lot of things to do and
And
lots
that's
of
getting to be
fun.
another, because you've sort of continued, I think it used to be just a summer thing, but.
It was more or less, yeah.
Yeah, and doing it through the winter has created that, okay, we can go do something. Like, we went to Wool a couple times when we did the indoor things, and it was
Yes,
really.
and the farmer's market.
Yeah, the farmer's
Had, for 3 months, October, November, December, had indoor market at 33 Bridge
Yeah.
Street. And it was great for them
Yeah.
because that sort of, again, kept
It's that continuity.
them more
that
in top of mind,
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't just like, oh yeah, in the summer. And I think they felt that they had a very successful indoor market, and that was a great space
Yeah.
for that.
And it's building those continuous things, that repetition, that routine that really brings it together, because then you can count on that, and it's something to do, and it's fun, and
It's a
you see
catchy
lot of
title,
people.
BF3F.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. And I guess my last comment would be our biggest challenge at BIFTA is sustainability. We do receive money from both town and village. Last year we received a combined total of $15,000. It's very hard to raise money for admin. And so we generally use our town contribution for that, so that allows us to have our office and to, have a honcho like me, kind of overseeing things and so on. But money is tight because we try to spend every penny on our programs and put it out. And so the only other source of real income that we have is our membership. So I hope people will see the value in supporting BIFTA when they get their membership letters. They should be going out maybe in another month because we really do need to do that. And because we are a small organization, it's very hard to have a special event because it takes a lot of steam to do that.
Ton of volunteers.
And unless it's a certain type of special event, it's sometimes way more labor intensive than the payoff in the end. So if anybody knows of ways or has ideas to help BIFTA be more sustainable, we would really appreciate your input as well.
And I also think it's important to point out that because we have BIFTA, and this is what I don't think people realize this. It's different than the chamber. Because we have BIFTA, because of that, that's why you can get the tax credits, right? I mean,
yes.
It's necessary for you to have the entity of BIFTA in order for the businesses to be, it's all part of the bureaucracy of downtown programs. So I think people need to understand that because you can sit at home and say, oh, what's the big deal about BIFTA? The downtown's vital now. It's, you've done your job. You haven't.
They are vital because we have done
exactly.
our job.
That's what I'm saying.
But
so I think that's important to point out that it's a necessary entity. So when it comes to voting for it at the town meeting, that is a necessary entity to keep the Bellows Falls vitality in the downtown area. So that was our timer.
That was our timer going off. We're out of time yet again.
We do.
Thank you for coming.
Oh,
you're
you're
always a
welcome.
wonderful guest, and you have so much information. It's like we have to jam it all into
That's
this
right.
space.
We have to talk fast.
Yeah,
That's right. And we just want to finish
And thank
the
you for
show.
having me because
you're welcome.
I think coming here has been very helpful to raise, again, our visibility
that's what we're
and
here
get people to
raise
understand what we do and that we are an important entity in downtown.
That's great.
Perfect.
And tomorrow night, Marty and I are doing a candidates forum for the upcoming election. So
Yes, we have-
stick around
stick
if
around
you
tomorrow night.
keep
We'll
your
be-
eyes open for that. It should be fun.
Yep, and we just want to end the show sending out our condolences to the Hardy family. Mike Hardy passed away suddenly this week, and he was a vital part of the community, so we just want to send out to the family our condolences.
All right. That's us. That's it for this week.
Bye, community.
That's it, folks, for the feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV or tell us what you think. thefeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch the feed online at www.fact8.com.